one of the people that we're lamenting today is Robin Williams. I wonder how many people saw his movie, one of the movies that he was in, called August Rush. August Rush was about this little boy who was born of musician parents, one a classical cellist and one a rock star. And August Rush heard the music of life around him. And that was the point, I think, of this piece. There's actually an orchestral score for this particular piece of music, that an entire orchestra sits in silence while the audience sits, not in silence, but sits in the music of the plays. And the audience is invited into deep listening. How many times are we invited into deep listening? Deep listening. For me today, would that we could hear the bombs falling in Gaza. Would that we could hear the tinkle of coins in a paper cup on the downtown east side. Would that we could hear the snores of Stephen and Sean who sleep on that doorstep periodically. That's why there's a sleeping bag there. If you're wondering, what is this sleeping bag doing here? It's because Stephen or Sean uses it. Would that we could hear that. The song that Marion read for us is one of 14 songs of the ascents. They're written by David. And the thing that they have in common is that they seem to exalt Zion. Zion is still a small hill outside of Jerusalem where it was conquered at the time of David, and David built his palace there. It's also referring to Zion and all of Israel. Sometimes when we hear the word Zion, we're speaking of all of Israel. It's also really short. The 14 songs of ascent are very short. And this is a song of praise. It's a song that calls people into unity. When they do, it's like when Aaron, Moses' brother, was anointed priest over the people, and the oil flowed, and that blessing flowed over all the people. And it's like Mount Hermon, where those are the gathering waters of the Jordan River. And it forms in mist and dew, and that's the lightness of that water. It's when people join in unity, that water forms and flows and flows through the Jordan. And it becomes an accessible source of life for all that would join in unity. We sing this song. It's in our songbook. It's called Behold How Pleasant, and I think we should sing it, just for us to hear it. It's kind of got a reggae tune, a beat to it. Just sing. You can stay seated. Behold how pleasant, how good it is. Behold how pleasant, how good it is. How pleasant and harmonious when God's people This song of praise about the world living in unity is still sung in Israel today. This song. While this is certainly a song of ancient Israel, from ancient Israel, for ancient Israel, for the people of contemporary Israel, we cannot sing it today without thinking of unity of the whole world, the whole planet. We cannot sing it as if it's for one group of people, if we really believe in the God of all. How good and pleasant it is. There's a greater song of lament. When I hold up this song, and here we are in the experience of Gaza, there's a greater song of lament, and it's from the Hebrew songbook. And I'm going to have Matt just play underneath while I speak it to you. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down and there we wept when we remembered Zion. On the willows there we hung our harps. And there our captors asked us for songs. And our tormentors asked for mirth and merriment, saying, "Sing us one of the songs of Zion." How could we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand wither. Let my tongue cling to the roof of my mouth if I do not remember you. If I do not set Jerusalem above my highest joy. Remember, O Lord, against the Edomites, the day of Jerusalem's fall, how they said, tear it down down to its foundations. Oh, daughter of Babylon, you devastator. Happy shall they be who pay you back what you have done to us. Happy shall they be who take your little ones and dash them against a rock. Song of lament, rage, sadness. Two songs held together. How good it is and pleasant when God's people are together, and yet when we're held captive, what happens? We sing rage, and we cannot sing new songs in a strange land. My heart is broken at what's happening in Gaza. I just can't, it's so heavy on my heart today. I can't say anything more. What I want to bring to you today is our spiritual leader's not most recent, but recent blog. Gary Patterson, the moderator of the United Church of Canada, wrote a brilliant blog in response to what's happening in the Gaza, and I just wanted to share it with you. You may have read it, and if you have, let it be a prayerful memory for you. If you've not heard it, let's listen in on how Gary calls the church. Our spiritual leader calls the church. I'm going to ask Matt to just kind of be with me as I share this blog. And there's probably a picture or two up there. Last week, says Gary, I was at a Benedictine retreat center on Vancouver Island for a week of prayer. Among several concerns, I held in my heart the people of Palestine and Israel, praying for an end to violence, for the willingness of all parties to come to the table to talk peace and justice. The center, strangely enough called Bethlehem, has no Wi-Fi, which makes sense when you're trying to be in silence and to listen carefully to the whispering of the Spirit. But it's also a challenge when you worry about the bombs and rockets continuing to explode over Gaza and Israel. I kept wondering what was happening. Now I'm back in the real world. The violence increases day by day, and hundreds of people have died. Real people, not statistics, people who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Though, is there any right place in Gaza, or ever enough bomb shelters in Israel? Ordinary men and women, children dead because of a war that never seems to end. And I want to cry out, stop! Stop this killing. Stop the invasion. Stop the rockets. I want to cry out to Israel, why are you doing this? Yes, you have every right to demand security, to live without peace, of teenagers being kidnapped and killed, of rockets falling in your cities. But do you really think this invasion, so overwhelming and destructive, so disproportionate, will bring peace and security? Do you not understand that non-combatants, civilians, real people, simply trying to live ordinary, everyday lives are being killed? And that this war is creating reservoirs of rage that will fuel nightmares of revenge. And I want to cry out to Hamas. Why are you doing this? Do you really think that sending endless rockets into Israel and killing non-combatants, civilians, real people, simply trying to live ordinary lives will bring peace to the people of Gaza? I want to cry out to the leaders of Israel, stop the occupation. Stop the blockade of Gaza. Dismantle the settlements. The West Bank is not your land, and there for the taking. Yes, you need a country, but so do the Palestinians, and unless you discover how two people can live side by side, then you will continue to bring destruction on everyone. Why will you not recognize the right of Palestine to exist within internationally recognized borders? And I want to cry out to the leaders of Hamas, change your constitution and your rhetoric, endlessly calling out for the destruction of Israel. It's an act of violence and will only create a fierce reaction rooted in fear and anger. Why will you not recognize the right of Israel to exist within internationally recognized borders? And I want to cry out to the international community. All states and leaders should be equally subject to the requirements of international law, without exception, including Israel and Palestine. Why can you not be even-handed and consistent for the sake of justice? I want to cry out to my own government, stop being so one-sided in your assessment of the ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine. It's far too simplistic to publicly blame only one side for all that has gone wrong. Instead, recognize the complexity of what's happening. Seek justice, work for peace. And I want to cry out to all the people who watch the news and either do nothing or point fingers at those whose opinions they disagree with. Enough! The world needs you to take a stand for peace and justice, to recognize that fellow human beings, both Israel and Palestinian, are suffering. We must do all we can, however simple, to end this violence. Why do I cry out? Because I dream of Israelis and Palestinians sitting down to engage in serious negotiations, not engaging in blame games, not trying to win a public relations or propaganda war, but seriously taking concrete steps towards a peaceful and just end of the conflicts that have ripped this land for so many years. So that ordinary people on all sides of every border will be free to work and laugh and cry, to build homes and families, to know the great gift of peace. What effect can my words have? Probably nothing. But silence is not an option when the bombs and rockets are falling, when innocent people are being killed. And so I cry out. And I continue to pray. How do we sing songs of joy and mirth in this strange land? It is good and pleasant when people gather in unity. That's where God's blessing is. Friends, I invite you into prayer. I invite you to go onto the websites, to go where the peace rallies are, to seek out help, read what people are doing, become informed. Sitting sad in silence is not helpful. It's not helpful. Please pray with me. It's very hard, oh God, to feel joyful when we listen for the bombs fall. Would that we could hear the cries of those children, the cries of those innocent people on both sides. And be stirred. Let the peace of Christ that surpasses all understanding live within us and through us, that we might be agents of peace. And so we ask that you empower us for prayer, for speaking out, for gathering in community, to wonder, to say enough to those who need to hear enough. It's a hard day, oh God. You bestow life and blessing forevermore. May it be true. May it be true.